Hey, I'm Jim Weber in the Fox 13 Weather Center. Thanks for logging on to MyFoxHurricane.com. Still watching Hurricane Larry, but the hurricane reconnaissance plane, they've been flying in the system throughout the morning hours, and they're noticing a few things. The pressure's actually risen a little bit. The overall structure of the storm isn't as well defined as it was just 24 hours ago, so it is starting to encounter a few issues. Now, the wind shear is light over the system, but what we're looking at is maybe some mid-level dry air working its way in. Also, they're noting that maybe some upwelling of some cooler waters beneath the system, so the waters may be cooling down a little bit, and that may be contributing to a little bit of a weakening trend with this. So the overall philosophy with this is still pretty much the same, that it's going to go around the ridge on that western side, kind of rounding it and eventually turning towards the north and eventually the northeast, and then safely out to sea, not really bothering anyone. Although the surf, and there is a tropical storm watch out for Bermuda as we go through the next couple of days. So right now, winds are at 115 miles an hour, currently moving to the northwest at 9 miles an hour. So still a major hurricane. Even though it's dealing with some issues, it is still a major hurricane. It's going to continue on that westerly track, that northwesterly track, weakening some as it does so, and then eventually starts to work its way into some cooler waters and then pushing on towards the north and east. You can see up towards St. John's. You got to watch this as we head towards the weekend. Those would be the areas that would be affected by this as we get into the weekend and over into next week as well. So another area that we are watching, this has been classified as Invest 91. I was talking about this last week, working its way over the Yucatan up into the Gulf of Mexico. Still at this point, really a low chance of seeing anything happen with this. There's just the conditions just aren't right in the Gulf of Mexico. We've got some high wind shear, so if anything were to develop with this, it would probably be close to land, but more likely after it passes over the peninsula and over into the Atlantic. So what we're looking at right now is just a big slug or a big area of tropical moisture working its way over the state. That's going to increase those rain chances over the state as we go through the next several days. In fact, you look at the GFS model, you really don't notice much into the Gulf of Mexico, but what you do notice is once we get towards the weekend, I'll go ahead and circle the area because you can see it over into the Atlantic. And a little hint maybe of some lower pressure. That, by the way, is Larry working its way on towards eventually the north and the northeast. But what you're seeing is that lower pressure kind of hanging out off the east coast, and that's where we might actually start to see maybe a little bit more development with this as we head towards the weekend and into next week. Other than that, the tropics are quiet otherwise, but we will keep you updated right here on MyFoxHurricane.com.